Hello, my name is Tammy Adams, and I am here with Mr. Harry Drone. And today he's going to talk a little bit about his illuminated glow products that he created. How you doing today, Mr. Harry
I'm
Drone?
doing very, very well, Sister Adams, and I'm pleased to be here to talk about my illuminated products because there are so many people that are trying to claim rights to my property that they do not legally have the right to uh, recreate or to create, market, and sell. So that's the purpose of this documentary today. It is called The Plagiarizing of Harry Drone. And I'm Harry Drone.
Okay, wonderful. Actually, that was one of my questions I was going to ask you. But I have a few questions I would like to ask you about your um, illuminated glow products. Um, Mr. Drone, do you have any legal proof that you are the legal owner of your illuminated glow products?
Yes, I do. And I'm glad that you brought that question up. That's a good question because in a court of law, you always need legal proof. And legal proof today would be your patent certificates or your copywritten certificates, which is issued by the Copyright Office, and your patents are granted by the Patent Office after a thorough patent search. So, to prove that I am the legal owner and representative of the products that I'm going to be discussing with you in our listening audience today, I want to first present, I believe this is the actual patent to the illuminated headband. And matter of fact, I'm going to dig a little deeper here.
All right.
And bring out all of the patents. This is one, two. Give me a moment here.
Is this one of your patents?
Yes, this is for the people out there in the audience that have never seen a patent certificate. Here's two patents that I own to the illuminated headband. Actually, one is a reissue copy of the original certificates that were sent to me by the patent office, and looks like well, we'll get to that. I'm trying to see what year was this actually issued. This goes back as far as January 1999 on the illuminated headband. And this illuminated headband at that particular time that I filed for the patent on it, it came with a cord and a attach on battery pack with the off and on remote switch, which would control the lighting system in the headband. And actually, you would implant the light into the headband. This has been one of the mysteries that has beset so many inventors of the past. They didn't have this unique technique of implanting the light into the clothes and encasing the lighting into the clothing. So there are a few more other questions that I want to answer about this patent certificate. I just don't want to take up all the time on that, but I want to go and show you the actual patent design.
Okay.
And the patent design here shows, if I can get a little closer, you probably can't see it as thoroughly as Sister Adams and I can, but this is a design of the original illuminated illuminated headband. And you see here the encase multiple lighting system with the electrical wires attached to each light and the lighting implanted into the headband. And here is figure 2 that you can see where the light casing is placed into the headband, and it shows here, this is another figure where you can open it up, figures 4, and place it simply in there. Then you could use a zipper or glow scar, Velcro to that. That's figures 3 and 4. And let me turn to one more page on this. Well, actually, there seems to be, yeah, this is the completion of it. Figures 5 and 6. And you'll see there, that's the complete figure of the illuminated headband. Now, I do have a cordless one that I designed as well. So there are 2 different models. One is on the copyright certificate, the other is on the patent certificate, as you can see. And this is the illuminated headband. So you know that I am the real, original creator and owner of the illuminated headband, even though it's been marketed, pirated, and plagiarized all around the world today, and primarily by United States corporations and companies.
Okay, so Mr. Drone is showing us today that he has proof that he is the original owner. Okay, Mr. Drone, did you ever try to submit your copyrighting or patent inventions or designs to any United States compromise or corporations?
You mean United States companies?
Companies, excuse me, companies.
Companies and corporations. Yes, I did. There are multiple companies. When this business started, when I was obviously a much younger man than I am today, and I must say, I'm at least 20 years older as to when this work began. I don't want to give you the exact date or specifics, but this thing goes back a long time ago, and for legal reasons, I don't want to stipulate the exact date. But I did try my best to submit my invention to many corporations. Quite naturally, as an inventor, you want to make some money off of your inventors, and if you're poor like I was, that's the only alternative that you have, is to try to make negotiations with established corporations so that they will have an opportunity to review your work, and in return you hope that they will give you an opportunity to get established as a inventor, and you hope to receive royalty rights from those corporations. But that was not the case for me. One thing I learned, that most companies today, and I just want to advise all inventors, if any way possible, whenever you invent something and submit something, first of all, try to make something that you can finance yourself and market it yourself without any what do you say, outside help or outside cooperation. Not that that is a bad thing, but you run a great risk in submitting your ideas and inventions to companies that you think that are in your best interest. And the reason why I say that is because most companies and corporations, as I learned and discovered, will not accept outside of materials from inventors. But I can also say this too, but they will steal from outside inventors, and we're going to prove that.
Okay, so one of his main points was that you should be able to finance your project. Okay, now let's go on to the next question. Mr. Drone, when did you discover your inventions, and when did you discover that your inventions were being plagiarized? Did you contact any attorney?
Yes, I contacted multiple companies in the past. There was a unique design that I filed with the Copyright Office years ago that I was pretty certain that was plagiarizing my ideas, and I contacted my attorneys that originally filed for the original copyright certificate for that idea, but to no avail, because most attorneys today, intellectual property right attorneys, most that I've spoken with over the years, they always want upfront money, no matter how good your case is, and it shouldn't be like this, because sometimes your case can involve multiple millions or billions of dollars can be lost if you're not able to afford a patent attorney, and that has been my struggle down through the years. But currently, I have found someone to represent me, a very bright young man, and they have made me an offer and a deal to continue to pursue those infringing persons, corporations, and organizations that have undermined me down through the years. And to answer your other question, yes, I just recently discovered a few weeks ago, and this is right now, what is this? This is December. Sometime in November of 2014, I was looking for potential infringers on the internet, and to my surprise, I did discover that there were numerous infringers pirating my ideal, and some of the infringers are foreign infringers as well. And that's very, very disturbing. But the infringers are so, what do you call it, manifold, many, that it's kind of hard to calculate them all at this particular time, but I'm still doing my research, and my attorney, he's currently doing his research, and we're trying to track down these people. We're going to also be contacting the FBI. We will also be speaking with, I'm trying to think of the name of the organization, the United States Attorney General, concerning the plagiarizing of Harry Drone, because down through the years I have lost, I'm pretty sure, over $1 billion in sales. And I'm going to let you answer some other questions, but I thought I'd try to clarify that as broadly as I possibly could.
Okay, wonderful. I just want to add a little something to that. And if you're having a problem that Mr. Drone is having, at the end of the broadcast, you can, he has a contact information where you can contact him and discuss your matter. So we're going to go to another question. Mr. Drone, when did you discover that your illuminated headbands and scarves were being plagiarized on the internet?
I think I just answered that question for you sometime in the month of November of this year. And as I said earlier, I had contacted my original law firm years ago concerning possible plagiarizing of some other simplistic designs that I felt were being plagiarized. But concerning the illuminated headband, the illuminated glow vest, the illuminated leg wear, the illuminated glow scarf, the illuminated rings, and the illuminated armband, all of these things were created by me years ago. But I hope I answered that question significantly for you and our viewing audience. But I want to present it, and before we go any further, and before I forget, that this is the original certificate called Amazing Glow Things. Amazing Glow Things is the original certificate to the booklet of work, which I am going to briefly and expeditiously go through to try and prove that I am, well, I'm going to prove that I am the original inventor and designer of multiple designs that you are seeing marketed all around the world today. So this is amazing, the certificate to the Amazing Glow Things. This is the certificate to Amazing Glow Things 2. And I have a third certificate to Amazing Glow Things. And so I own 3 certificates along with 3 different United States patents on these particular glow items. And I'll talk about this patent a little bit later. I'm going to let you go ahead and answer another question, if you please.
Okay, moving on. As popular as your illuminated headbands and glow scarves have become on the internet, can you give us a reason as to why these companies are plagiarizing your inventions and claiming your inventions to be their own?
Yeah, that's a great question. As popular as they are on the internet, I'm trying to figure out why they haven't been nationally televised on our international television screen or commercials. And I think the reason for this is because they were trying to keep me in the dark concerning my products being plagiarized by these unscrupulous pirates. And that's the legal term for piracy. These plagiarizers, copyright infringers. So they all flock to the internet like a bunch of ducks, if I could put it that way. And they presented themselves like kind of like sheep in wolves in sheep clothing. They're presenting themselves as the actual designer and the actual creator. I mean, if you're the actual designer and creator of the illuminated glow scarf headband, then prove it. Where's your patent? Because the United States Patent Office is up under the impression that Harry Drone is the original creator and designer of those inventions. And I say this to say this, is that they were trying to circumvent me. They didn't want me to know that they were plagiarizing me. They're plagiarizing me on eBay and on so many different websites. And I may, in fact, even share some names of some of those websites with you a little later on in this documentary. I'm not sure that I'm going to do that, but because I know my attorney is addressing some of these companies right now, and with justification, they should be notified about their plagiarizing of my inventions.
And I like what he said. He said he is the original owner, and he has the proof. And the proof is where the pudding is. It's in the proof. So he has the proof with him. Okay, Mr. Jerome, we're going to move on to the next question. Do you believe these companies that are plagiarizing your interventions are aware that they are plagiarizing and infringing upon your patents and copywriting works?
Now, please read that question to me one more time.
Okay.
I want to absorb that real good.
Okay. Do you believe these companies that are plagiarizing your interventions are aware that they are plagiarizing and infringing upon your patents and copywritings?
Yes. I know you said intervention, but it's invention, and that's okay. Yes, they are perfectly aware that they are plagiarizing my inventions, because the patent office is not going to go around issuing multiple patents up on the same inventions. They do patent searches first of all before they issue design patents or utility patents, plant patents, or any other patent that they may have available. And I want to say this: that lightning rarely ever strikes twice in the same place. But for lightning to strike nearly uh, 20 times or more in the same place is not a mystery, but it's a part of history that these people know exactly who I am and where this multi-billion-dollar company, or should I say these multi-billion-dollar designs started. And it all started with me and my discovery of how to illuminate material with my lighting system that allows you to create your glow vest, your glow coat, your glow leg warmers, and all of the other glow accessories that are being plagiarized today. So I'm going to let you move on and answer another question.
Okay, Mr. Drone, can you tell us about the difficulties you have had trying to find legal representation since you discovered your invention were being plagiarized and marketed on the internet?
Yes, but in the past, it was very, very difficult. But at that particular time, I didn't know that my ideas were being plagiarized on the internet. I just recently discovered that, like I said, here in November of 2014. But I've had difficulties trying to find legal representation because I said most of the time a lot of companies or attorneys want upfront money, because they feel as though they're not certain that they're going to win the case, or they just feel that you got to have $10,000 or more to put up. And every poor person like myself don't have $10,000 to put up. But I have something more valuable than $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have the copyright certificates to back me up. I also have multiple patents to back up that I am in fact the real, how would you say it? Authentic.
Authentic. No,
Yeah.
authentic.
Oh, let's get that word right. She says authentic. But I am the real original owner of these patents. So like I say, if you're the real owner, hey, pull your patents out. We'll see. We could go to court. Matter of fact, that's where I hope that we're headed right now, because I got to put all these quacks to the side that are claiming my invention. It's not right. It's not fair. And anytime a person can present such substantial proof as I have, I don't know why attorneys aren't jumping out of the wall to get to a case like this, because I discovered that some of my illuminated glow scar that was selling on the internet, they're selling for as much as $169 a pop. Now those are the expensive ones. Now some of the cheaper ones that you find on Amazon and on eBay, well, you get a really cheap one for about $9 on up to about 30 something to even $67 a pop. But when it's all said and done, the really great ones are selling as much as $169.97 or 99 cents a pop. You only need to sell 1 million copies of this glow scar to make $169 to $170 million. So can you understand why I'm so dissatisfied today? And they have ripped me off for as many as 15, 20 or more different inventions, different designs of mine. Yes. And because like I said, if I was attorney, or I'd be tearing the courthouse door down until I got some justice, because there's a lot of money at stake, a whole lot of money at stake. We're talking about the possibility of winning hundreds of millions of dollars. we've lost that because of the mindset of these plagiarizers. They have no respect for patent law. They have no respect for copyright law. And by them having no respect for the law, and me as a person and an individual, I've had to suffer greatly. It's even rough to pay the bills sometimes because everybody else is enjoying what I and my family should be experiencing and enjoying today.
Okay, that was part of my other question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. But I'd like to add to what he's saying. We can certainly understand his frustration because, you know, he built all these things. He created them himself, and then he has the evidence to let you know that he is the original owner. So I want to move on to the next question. Mr. Drone, do you believe these companies took advantage of you because of your poverty and race?
Yes, and that's a great question to ask because I certainly just mentioned my poverty a little bit earlier, and they did. And I want to talk about, before I go in depthly into that question, I want to talk about a newspaper article that was did right here in Kansas City, Missouri. If I can get a little bit closer, that's me and a group of kids, probably both white and black. They're modeling the illuminated glow scarf and headband. This clip, these kids are grown today. And here's a color copy where it says here, it says, Harry Drone creates glow things for safety and for fun. And I give you a whole synopsis on how to utilize these particular ideas that I created. Here you can see a young lady, beautiful young lady. She's a black child with her two brothers and another relative of hers. They are modeling what I call the rainbow color glow scarf, and he's modeling an all-white model, and this young man is modeling an all-red model. Here we have a group of neighborhood kids. These kids are grown today. Can you believe that? They are actually mature. They got to be in their 30s today. But these kids were just, they weren't even in their teens or just entering into their teens when I had them modeling a copy of my illuminated glow scarf and headband. So,
and was that, excuse me, was that in the year of 1999 or?
It went back as far as the 1990s.
Okay.
Because sometime back then, I recall earlier that I had filed for patent certificates, even though I own the copyright certificates to those designs several years earlier.
Well, I certainly like what Mr. Drone is doing because he came ready with all of his information with him, and that is so appreciative. I just really appreciate the fact that you came with all of your information to your interventions. So we're going to move on to
interventions. She like to say intervention, but it's invention.
Inventions. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next question. Mr. Drone, can you tell us how many companies on the internet are that's plagiarizing your inventions?
No, I can't give you a specifics, but my last count that I documented, I've had about 100 or 101 or more companies and individuals claiming to be the owner of my inventions. And they're making a lot of money according to their own websites. And you know, you just got to get on the internet, look up what's called the flux scarf, or the BOA, the BOA, the lead BOA scarf, or the illuminated glow scarf, glow vest, and things of this nature. When you go on the internet, look up the LED BOA, BOA scarf, and they also call that thing the flux. I don't know what it is, LAUX, something to that nature, scarf. And if I get the correct spelling for that, I'll get that to you. But they're also on the internet with that too. And I want to do one more thing before we get to the next question, this is another patent that I don't believe I revealed to. Oh, yes. Now, this is the patent, the actual, literal, physical patent. And I want you to touch that, and I want you to feel that, take a real good look at it, and tell me whether or not that's a real patent.
Oh yes, this one definitely.
And what does it say?
It says the United States of America, the Commissioner of Patents and Trademarks.
And is this not the illuminated glow scar in here?
Illuminated fabric scarf.
Right. And so here we are, as Sister Adams is illustrating and holding up for our viewing audience to see. This is the illuminated glow scarf, and you can see the person wearing it. And this is the cardless type. I did two models, one with the card and one that is cardless. And this is the cardless model. This is the design that was submitted to the United States Patent Office, and here's a larger design of that. I want you to get a real good look. I hope you can get a real good look of that. That's the illuminated glow scarf that you see today, and they're calling it the fur scarf and all that kind of stuff. You could use multiple types of materials, but I will also prove that I created the first illuminated glow scarf and the fur boa scarf that is so popular on the internet today. And here's the original. If I can just get up and probably get a little bit closer for my viewing audience to see. This is figures 1 and on up to 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It shows a system of lighting with the battery packs on the inside, up in the upper region of the shoulder, and the multiple lighting systems on the inside of this scarf. It shows the light encased into its casing, and once you insert that into the cloth, that allows not only the fur scarves to light up like that, but just about any synthetic material, such as, I guess, polyester, what do they call that other, nylon, but the fur, the synthetic fur is the best for illumination. I discovered that years ago. And so this is another patent that proved that Harry Drone, and I'm proud to say that I am the creator of a of the illuminated glow scarf that they're now calling the flux and the boa scarf, or the lead light up scarf and stuff like that. So here it is. Here's the proof. And once again, here's the copyright to back that claim up to.
Okay. So when you have evidence, you have everything. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Mr. Jerome, do you think the patent laws should be strengthened, and in what way?
Yes, I've had time to meditate on patent laws, and I have a copyright in a patent book here in my home that was given to me by an attorney, or at least I got it from an attorney through my brother, and it has some very valuable information in there. But I noticed that the government is really restricting the duration of ownership rights on patents, and I don't believe that that should be. I come up with what I think the government should consider, in all patent recipients and potential patent recipients should consider pressing the United States government for what I call perpetual perpetuity patent rights. And because nobody should have the right to tell you how long you should own your property. You know, I mean, if it's yours, it's yours. You know, whether you have a monopoly on it or not. And I don't really see anything wrong with the monopoly as long as that monopoly was legally created. Now, I'm not talking about uh, banning or barring or discouraging improvements upon existing patented models or prototypes that were submitted to the patent office, but I'm talking about I don't believe it's fair for the government to say, well, you can get 14 years if you have a design patent, 20 years if you have a utility patent, and so on, because that's your property right. And see, based upon my experience, uh, it could be many, many years before you even find a venture capitalist to invest in your product if you're financially unable to finance your particular inventions or ideas as I was. And this would be a great loss to the inventor to spend 14 or 20 years searching for someone to invest in. By the time you find anyone, if and say hypothetically that you don't find anyone, well, then you lost all of your rights to your own property, and this is not fair. And someone else can walk up and start taking advantage of something that you created, and now you no longer have any say so in your property that you created to make them rich. So I think that's a government sham and scam to try to put restrictions on the duration or limitations on people's right. I think once you own something, you should own it permanently unless you sell it or lease it out to someone. So the perpetual perpetuity law is a law that should be considered to protect all inventions and inventors from future plagiarizers and pirates.
Well, that was answer to two questions.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go to the next question. Let me see how I'm going to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Should there ever be any states or limitations on the patents or copyrights in which a person or his family members are barred from filing or legal claim against a defendant who has willfully and knowingly energized upon upon interventions with a set year by the government?
I understand what you're trying to say. Just kind to inadequately pronouncing it a little bit, but no, there shouldn't be any statutes of limitations barring people from their rights. Statutes of limitations are to rob you. They really are, and that's one of the biggest legal schemes going on in the world today, is using statutes of limitations, especially with copyrights and patents. They say, well, you got you got 3 years here and 4 years there to file and make a claim against us, but there should never be any statutes of limitations. I know, you're probably looking at me like I'm crazy, man. Who is he? Who gives him the right? I have a right to at least express my concerns with these statutes of limitations that are specifically designed to undermine and to rob poor inventors and designers such as myself. I believe that the statutes of limitations should be equal to the term and the duration of the patent and the copyright, and I certainly believe that the term and the duration of the copyright should be extended equally as long elongated as long as the copyright rights are valuable. So they should be both equal in their power structure.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's move on to the next question, or the next statement, should I say. Okay, most lawyers want $10,000 before they represent you. Um, so can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, I briefly touched on the legal expenses of seeking legal assistance when you have been plagiarized, and it's very, very expensive. And when you are a poor inventor, a poor designer, you fall into this trap, and you're made to feel hopeless, in a sense of speaking, that you're unable to fight back. You don't have a voice. A lot of times you can run back and forth to the press, and they won't even hear you. So, large corporations have an advantage over you in that respect and in that regard. You're certainly at a disadvantage when you have to raise $10,000 just like that to get some legal assistance. But there are some great firms and attorneys out there, and you have to seek really desperately hard to find those. And if you are blessed and fortunate enough to find one, then take it straight to the bridge, straight to the courts, and fight for what's rightfully yours. But yes, it is very, very hard to come up with that kind of money to have someone to represent you, and frankly, I think at 30-40% or more to represent some, I take the risk if I was an attorney. Win or lose, because if you win, look at what you win. That's worth taking the risk for, So I'm glad you asked that question.
Okay, this is our final question, Mr. Drone. Okay, did you ever seek investors for your invention, and what are some of the things you did to try and raise enough money to reproduce and market your inventions?
Yes, I did, and matter of fact, me and a friend of mine, and this documentary will continue. This is just part one of this documentary, I understand, and I'm going to bring him into the equation so he can explain some of the things that we did do to raise money. But I can tell you this. He and I both tried to raise venture capital funds ourselves. So, and we had a really good plan. I mean, I was on the radio, So the people that are stealing from me today, plagiarizing me today, perhaps they saw this newspaper article, and perhaps they saw that we were poor people of color, and they decided to take advantage of us. Maybe they thought that this was just too great for an African American male to have all these multi-million-dollar ideals, and this is the kind of world we're living in. This is the kind of diabolical society that we're living in, because they certainly knew who I was. You could have picked up the newspaper and anywhere in Missouri and discovered, ooh, Harry Drone creates the amazing glow things and all that kind of stuff. But I've contacted multiple companies like Toys for Us, Milton Bradley, Mattel, and clothing companies. Matter of fact, I got a whole listing of those things in there, and I know I'm going to have to do a part 2 on this here, because I have a whole booklet of designs in this black pouch here. It is another world. It's a beautiful world, though. It consists of illuminated flower pods, the illuminated headband, illuminated glow scar. All that stuff is in here. And somebody with knowledge of who I was and what I was doing decided to take full and complete advantage of me and my idea. So I'm very, very pleased to do this documentary and to share this information with the public. And we're going to come back and we're going to do part 2, and I'm going to show you in part 2 what's in this black package, what's in these booklets, what do I have to prove. I've already proved that I was the owner to the illuminated headband. The owner to the illuminated glow scarf. And I want to tell you something else. Prediction. I'm also the owner of the illuminated automobile dashboard covering with the illuminated headrest covers and stuff like that. So Ford got some great ideas from me. And I have the proof to prove that they contacted me once before and asked me to sign some documents even before I could submit my ideas and inventions to them. And don't you think that I didn't keep that information? And I know you got some pretty good ideas from me. But this illuminated headrest set and this illuminated dashboard car set, that was also created by me. It's a real unique system, a brilliant system from a brilliant mind, if I might say, even though I accidentally invented these things. And I want to show you how all these things evolved into what they did in my next documentary, which is just an extension and an addition to this particular documentary. So here you can see this is figure 1, and it shows how you illuminate the headrest and the dashboard cover by putting in this unique, by plugging in this unique system into your cigarette lighter, which allows you know, your headrest and all that stuff to light up. But we'll talk about that. This is another United States patent that I own. So there's multiple patents that I own to this stuff. And once again, the copyright certificates along with the patents. And we're going to discuss this further in the imminent future concerning my other illuminated products that I need to talk to you all about.
Okay, Mr. Jerome, can you leave an email address where the people you can be reached at in case anybody want to talk to you about your creative inventions?
Yes, I do have a email address, and all you have to do is go to harrydrone@yahoo.com, and you can drop me an email if you are interested in what I'm doing. And if I'm interested in what you're saying, I'll reply, and if not, I won't. So, but here we are, and I guess she wants to conclude.
Okay, now this is the ending of Harry Drone's Illuminated Glow products. And is there anything else you would like to say?
Yes, I just want to say that I thank Sister Adams for being a part of this documentary, and thank you all for taking the time to listen to what I had to share and to say with you. And we'll continue on in just a few moments with the second part of this documentary, which proved who I am and what I've been doing over the last several years that led to the plagiarizing and the pirating of my inventions here in the United States of America and abroad.
Okay, we just want to say thank you, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.